All right. Hello, hello. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Dream Builders Room. All of my Literature Academy members, I see you guys are on time today, which is amazing because tonight's session is all about time. We're focused on planning ahead. So I know many of you are really excited about tonight's session, which I'm excited about because time management is forever going. It's never going to go away, and we always need it. So I just want to welcome everyone here. For those of you who are brand new, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Tamara, and I'm the manager of Literature Academy, and I have the pleasure of joining you all every Sunday at 8 p.m. for Ask the Expert. So I'm seeing a couple of people from everywhere. We have Charlotte, Texas, Virginia, Orlando, Florida. I was supposed to be there a few times in April, so I'm missing that Florida weather and the palm trees. Have a couple of people from Atlanta. Just let me know if you guys can hear and see me. And then once I get the A-OK for that, we'll get tonight's session going. And if you are getting an echo, I see a couple of people saying they're receiving an echo. That is because you might have two windows open. So close one of those out. You might have Literature Academy in the YouTube tab up. You want to close out one of those, which will probably be the Literature Academy one so that you can comment. All right. So tonight's session is all about planning ahead and basically managing your time and money. And I have tonight Becca Rich, who is absolutely amazing. I've actually worked with her a few times. She does productivity sessions, time management sessions, and I have always walked away with really great habits to practice that is helping me be more productive. So I thought it would be great to introduce you to her. And we're going to go ahead and get started. Hey, Tammy, I see you, Janelle, Aisha, Daphne. All right, Nyla. All right, let's get started. So Becca, just go ahead and say hello. Want to make sure your audio and video is good as well.
Hello. Does it work?
Awesome. So I'm just going to formally introduce Becca to all of you. Becca Rich is the holistic time management coach at BeccaRichWellness.com. She helps busy women take back control of their day and get their to-do list done in half the time so they can achieve their dream life today without sacrificing their balance, which we all need. We wear many hats, and especially during this time, I mean, it's many hats times two. So she's going to help us get started. And I know usually we have our experts speak to you and give you information, but tonight is a little different. It's going to be more of a workshop. So inside of the email, you all should have received a Google Doc. So she's going to walk you through that. But I just want you to know that if you do have pen and paper handy, and if you don't, go and grab it right now. We also want you to have either a physical calendar or a digital calendar ready. And we're going to go ahead and get this session started. So welcome, Becca.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen really fast. Awesome. Let me know if you can see that. Awesome. Cool. So I just want to say thanks, first of all, for just letting me be here today. Thanks to Tamara for hosting this, for this opportunity to share in this community. And I'm really excited to be here. I love time management. I love planning ahead, being proactive, and creating the life that everything's okay. Yeah. Okay. Awesome. So I'm Becca Rich, like Tamara just said. I am a holistic time management coach. My background is in engineering, so I am an engineer. I still work 9 to 5 in my engineering job, aside from planning my business and starting my business and growing it. Over the course of my lifetime, I've really struggled with overworking myself, which unfortunately led me to the hospital with an intestinal infection. But long story short, it led me to starting my own business, doing this, unlearning my worth is in my productivity, and helping myself and others get what we need to get done and create our dream life in a way that is in alignment and purposeful and intentional. So I'm really passionate about spending time on the things that matter, family, watching Netflix, eating food, and also doing the things that need to get done. So before we go into it, I just wanted to go over what this is going to be about. The chat we'll chat about how planning and saving are super connected, and we'll plan our next 90 days together. Like Tamara said, this is more of a workshop, and we'll, hopefully by the end of this, you'll leave with your next 90 days planned out, and then we'll have a question and answer towards the end. And I just want to start by saying that all the tips that I share are totally from my experience. And I know that everyone's experience is different, and that I am acknowledging that everyone comes from a different background and different experience. And so following along in the Google Doc, that is the link. If you do not have it yet, you can just type that into your browser. And once you have that up, instead of asking for, requests to edit it, I can't give you access to edit it, mainly because I don't even have it up right now. But click File, click Make a Copy up at the top left-hand corner, and I'll wait a minute and if you want to look at that photo. Awesome. And then after you click Make a Copy, you'll want to find your drive. So in the folder, I don't know what it'll say, but hopefully it says My Drive. If not, try and find that. Usually you have to click on it and scroll through it a little bit. If not, and then just click OK. And after that, you'll be able to edit it as much as you want, change things around, do whatever you want to do. Awesome. Cool. Everyone's good? Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's get started. So you have big dreams for your life. You want to start or grow a business. You want to travel the world. You want to save up to buy a new house, pay off your student loans, invest in the stock market, or give back to your community, or anything else. Feel free to add in the chat if you have your big dream already in the forefront of your mind. We would love to see that for sure. I think it's really important to, write out loud what your big dreams are, in terms of planning ahead. But raise your hand if you don't exactly know how to get there. Not enough time or money or anything else that feels like it's in the way of those big dreams. I know I have been there 100%. I can still, get there for sure. And just know that you are not alone in that feeling, and that it's a really hard feeling to feel, but you're not alone. And hopefully this session will help you kind of make that more of a reality and help you get there. And then my funny joke, where does it all go, right? I don't know is a common response that I hear, and that is something that we'll go over today of how do you actually know where it goes? And then also, if you do know, you feel like you have no control over it. So time is elusive, and it's hard to take back control of it, So just my cute little slide, successfully planning, tracking, managing your time and money equals more of it usually. And you use a calendar to plan, track, and manage your time. And then you use your budget to plan, track, and manage your money. And from my experience, when I am more intentional with how I spend my time, money, energy, resources, I am much more in alignment with myself, with the world, internally and externally. And, I'm on the woo-woo kind of side of things sometimes. I like, manifesting and astrology and all of that. But I also know that there, takes a lot of effort and time and energy to make your dreams happen as well. So how can planning help you? How can planning ahead help you? Like I said, more awareness. You'll know how you currently spend your time and money and energy. And then also you'll be able to commit to spending it in a way that is more aligned with you and not allowing it to control you. So I saw in a blog somewhere along the way that people who don't plan ahead are more likely to be hit by surprise bills, make impulsive purchases out of necessity. I know today I didn't have food ready in my fridge, so I was out buying food. I went to a crawfish boil. And it's really easy to lose control of time and money, but planning has helped me, pay off $10,000 in credit card debt, start my business, work on my physical and mental health, develop a stronger relationship to my husband and, my higher power. And it's really helped me take back control of my life, and not feel like I wasn't in control of it. So what's so special about 90-day planning, if you want to take it that specific, because that's what we're doing today, right? Life is ever changing. Raise your hand. When was the last time you've kept up with the New Year's resolution? Anybody? I don't know either. I don't remember the last time I kept up with the New Year's resolution or even set one, honestly. I have no idea. But planning in 90 days is special because of that. When we plan a year out, we don't know what our year is going to look like. And 90 days gives you a really good chance to check in with yourself 4 times a year. And it's really great to stay in alignment, but also have self-compassion for yourself. When we set these New Year's resolutions or, year goals, it's really easy for us to like beat ourselves up halfway through the year or at the end of the year when we haven't accomplished it. So this is why I'm a huge fan of 90-day planning. It really helps me stay motivated, stay with the momentum, and stay, making my goals bigger, my big dreams smaller and more attainable. So if you have never planned 90 days or quarterly planning or whatever, just know that there is specific benefits to this type of planning. And just as a fun fact, we humans overestimate what we can accomplish in a day or a week, that to-do list that you keep pushing off, week after week. And we underestimate what we can do in a year. So 90-day planning is a really great middle point between the two. So let's save you some time and money. If you haven't opened that doc already, have that open. Yes. And then you'll need 3 things to plan your next 90 days: that Google Doc, your brain and your heart, and then your calendar. And me, obviously, because I'm stepping you through it. But you won't need me after this one. Hopefully you continue to plan in 90-day increments after this. However, you have a question?
Yes, I'm just going to jump in real quick because I know many of you are trying to access the Google Doc. You guys, you ran over to Google Doc and Google Doc said pause, it's too much traffic. So there is a duplicate link that I am dropping into the channel right now. And if for some reason you're on the phone or whatever the case may be, do not worry. She's going to go through it in the presentation. Just follow along. That Google Doc can be used later to type in notes or to print out if you need it. And then also the replay will be available. So don't panic. But I'm dropping the new link now. And again, you can follow along with the slides. So relax.
Google.
We're going to manage our time together.
We broke Google. Yeah. Feel free to, like Tamara said in the beginning, grab a piece of paper and pen. You don't necessarily need the Google Doc to go through this exercise. Most of what the exercise is also in the presentation, but I stepped through it a little bit more detailed. And if you are searching for the Google Doc, feel free to take a pause. I'm a huge fan of just like taking a few deep breaths before we do anything, we arrive. Some will say this is the holistic part of my time management process. So feel free, if you are comfortable, to close your eyes or keep them open. It's totally normal, totally okay, whatever you want. And we'll just take 3 big deep breaths together. So breathe in deep in through your nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. 2 more just like that. Inhale deep in and let it go. 1 more. Take your biggest, deepest breath of the day so far. And let it go. Awesome. When you're ready, slowly open the eyes, come back to the room. Hope that felt really good. I always do this in all my co-working sessions, all my clients, everything. Taking deep breaths is like a crucial part to planning, mainly because it's sometimes stressful, but it's not going to be today. So the vision, our step one is declaring our vision. And that's kind of what I touched on in the very beginning, which is your big dreams, your big goals. Your vision is a guide for everything that you do, every to-do list that you make, every action that you put on your post-it notes. If you have 8 post-it notes on your desk, however you plan your week or figure out what you need to focus your time and energy on, this vision is your focal point. And then, especially when you are overwhelmed, ungrounded, scattered, come back to this vision. Have this in a place that is out, not tucked away. Have it somewhere on your cork board next to your desk or your vision board or the background in your phone if that's what you want. Like, put it out so you can see it and you can actually make it a habit to connect with it. It's really powerful to reconnect with what you want to accomplish on a daily basis. Awesome. And so we take this big dream, this big goal, and we break it down into what we want our life or day to look and feel like in 90 days. So this is like um, taking maybe a small chunk of that big goal. If your big goal is to pay off your student loan debt, like me and my husband's is right now, breaking down what we want to do towards that in the next 90 days. That's a more tangible, like earthy, I guess, example. It could be, for my business right now is just serving 100 people, working with 100 people in this 90-day plan right now. But feel free to take some time. I actually like to set timers in this. So I'll set a timer for like a minute or two. So you guys can just journal right in the Google Doc or a piece of paper or a phone or a computer, anything that you could think of that would light you up inside. We have about a minute left, so feel free to continue if you are still working towards just writing down all the things that you could do to get to your vision, your big goal, your big dream in the next 90 days. All right, and feel free, like we keep saying, it's okay to go back. You don't have to have this whole thing finished out, but feel free to um, continue along with us or, stay and brainstorm a little bit. The next step, which some people may find a little resistance to, is choosing one main goal to focus on for the next 90 days. So I know that there may be a little bit of fear behind that. Um, but the reason behind choosing one is because we wear so many hats that we are multitasking energetically, physically, mentally, emotionally, all the time. And so when we're trying to change like 8 different things and work on 8 different goals at once, that is what keeps us from getting towards any of them, very fast at all. So when I do my 90-day plannings, I try to just stick with one. However, I want to say that you can do 3 maximum, but just for today, choose one. Just know that you can choose more later, and we can continue to plan with just that one, just for this workshop. Ideally, this goal, this one that you choose, should excite you a little bit, should maybe feel a little bit scary. It might feel a little bit demanding of you. Ideally, it could be anything. Feel free to throw that in the chat as well if you want to throw that goal. Have us support you in your vision. And again, I just want to bring up the fear because I know a lot of us will feel fear. The fear of commitment towards a goal is scary. Jumping 2 feet in with just focusing our time and energy on one goal. But there's no right or wrong goal to focus on. I know the fear is, I don't want to focus on the wrong goal. I don't want to waste my time focusing on one goal for the next 90 days. But again, like we talked about, there's 4 chances in the year to realign and change your goal. There's no right or wrong goal to focus on. Not deciding on any of them and still having your energy spread really thin is the only way to, reach them a lot slower or not reach them at all. So just know that there's no right or wrong goal. Clarity happens after you've tried, after you've taken action, and after you've pushed past that initial fear of choosing. Every time that you change your mind, it's most likely fear coming up. I know that that's what's happened in my personal experience. And when this happens, that's a great chance to return back to your big vision, your big goal, what you want your life to look and feel like in the next 90 days or in the next 10 years. It can be that big dream, that big vision of yours. And a great way to check on this, just one last thing. I know this is, choosing one can be scary, but if you could do any of them that you wrote down, that brainstorm that you wrote down, if you could do all of them, you could do anything, and you knew that all of them would be successful, which one tugs at your heart the most? That's a really great way to check in with yourself and go with your gut, go with your body reaction instead of your mind and overthinking. Awesome. So I hope that everybody has their vision, their one goal that they want to focus on in the next 90 days. There's a question and answer part to this, so feel free to ask those. The next step is brainstorming all the things that you need to do to reach that one goal. So for example, right now, like I said, my husband and I's goal is to save up enough to pay off our student loan debt. So creating a budget. I need to create a tighter budget right now, obviously. I need to do, what else are we doing right now? We're actually selling all of our stuff and moving across the country. So that's fun. All the things that I need to do to reach that goal, and make them as small as possible. The smaller, the better. In my co-working sessions, I always talk about what can you finish in 25 minutes. So apply that logic to this, and maybe not so much 25 minutes, but like what can you accomplish in a week if you had time to do one thing a week towards that big goal that you're working towards, what are all of those things that you need to do? And I'll set a timer for maybe like 2-3 minutes. I'll do 3 minutes and check back in with y'all in about halfway through. So we're just brainstorming all the things that you need to do to reach your big goal that you chose. We have about a minute and a half left, so keep brainstorming all the things that you can do to reach your one goal in the next 90 days. Y'all are doing great. We have about 30 seconds left, but I got a question that I want to answer. So, what if your goal is not something tangible, like breaking a bad habit? So usually, the studies that and the learning that I've done around breaking bad habits is coming up with what you're replacing that bad habit with. So instead of trying to, you can't schedule how to take something away. So maybe it's brainstorming all the things you can do to replace that bad habit with. That would be my answer to that question. Feel free to, if you have more details, to add that. And then another question is, how can I measure if I'm being realistic? So the realistic thing comes there's different tools, right? So like, are you being realistic in terms of how long things take to happen or how much time you have in your day-to-day life? I'm assuming that you have this big dream, this big goal, and you when you broke it down into like what you want to accomplish in the next 90 days, if you in your gut feel that it's something that you can achieve, that's a body check. So feel free to close your eyes and breathe and like just notice what comes up when you just read that goal. Or, I think being realistic a lot of times can weigh down our dreams and our visions and what we really think is possible. So I always say like I read this recently in Glennon Doyle's book about um, Untamed, her book Untamed, and it was talking about um, what is the most truest and beautifulest thing that you can imagine. So it's allowing your creative brain to take over instead of your overthinking, analyzing brain. Um, so I would say, there's different ways to be realistic about your goals. However, I think um, it's more of a body check but in a tangible way. Is it actionable? Is it something that you can put in your calendar to work towards on a weekly basis or a daily basis? Um, if so, then that's beautiful. That's great. And every time that you work towards that goal, you're making progress. So that's realistic. That's my answer. Cool. So I hope that you guys brainstormed all the things that you need to do to reach that goal. Now, I'm sure your brain already kind of put them into some sort of order that makes sense to you. But just to make sure that um, it is more tangible, putting your action items into some sort of order, what you need to do first, what you want to do first until 90 days later. So there's 12 weeks and 90 days on average. I think there's some math there. But I like creating milestones. So breaking your 90-day goal into something more small, more tangible. So by month 1, I want to be, do, or have X. By month 2, I want to be, do, or have X. By month 3, blah, blah, blah. So feel free to, I'll time just like a minute or so for you to, I'll do 2 minutes. How about that? So for you to just put those action items that you brainstormed into an order that makes sense to you and in your brain, and then creating those milestones. We have 1 minute left, so make sure that you are putting those action items that you brainstormed into an order that makes sense to you and creating those milestones for you to check in with yourself in that 90-day plan. Alrighty, that's 2 minutes. So we'll move on to the next step. So step 3 is calendar. So it's not enough to just have a vision and goals. You need to make it super easy for you to take action. A really great example that I heard somewhat recently was the one of the most, I think I was reading a blog post about like the most successful, what do the most successful people do to manage their time? And this one CEO is talking about how he lays out his clothes before he goes to work the next day. And that's just a really like small example. I'm not rigid like that. I mean, that's a great example of making it easy to take action. Something that I personally do is I have in my calendar what I'm going to do for my workout. So instead of just putting workout in my calendar, I put in the notes what I'm doing to work out that day. And I know that I'm not in the mood to run one day, I'll move things around, but just making it easy for you to take that action towards your goals is super important. So the next step, I'll give y'all about maybe 2-3 minutes. Brainstorm all of the important dates to remember in the next 90 days. So this can include holidays, birthdays. I know Father's Day is coming up. If you have any loved ones' birthdays, we're not making trips right now. Some people might be. feel free to add the milestones. If you want to figure out the exact day, I can figure that out too. The exact days of the milestones, just any important days that are important to you in your life. I'll set a timer for just a minute for this one. Alrighty, so that was a minute, and I realized that this is not, this 90-day plan. Ultimately, ideally, it would start tomorrow, right? Or today. You can start this 90-day plan, but if you were starting it tomorrow, your milestones would then be 4 weeks later. You would figure out your milestone every 4 day or 4 weeks after tomorrow. So just wanted to bring that to your attention. So like June 15th, July 13th, and August 10th, I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's those would be your 3 milestones. Has it? Yeah. Hey, Michelle. So, has it been helpful for anyone to use Asana or Trello for the calendaring part, or do you recommend using a calendar only? So, I have Trello, but I use Trello for like my editorial calendar in my business for ideas, like creative ideas. I like using my Google Calendar for the actual like time blocking and things like that. But this is how your brain works the most, right? Like this is where the holistic time management part comes into play here. You have to figure out what works best for you and your brain. If you like Trello or Asana, like go for it, and you can use this system that I'm teaching you today in any system and any tool out there. This is whatever works for you in your brain. Awesome. So the next step after that is you would open up your I'll answer that in just one second, Kathy. But the next step, you would open up your calendar and you would add in all those important dates as, all day events, if you're using your Google Calendar like I do. And then you would pick specific time blocks for you to work on your key actions. I know there's going to be questions that come up about this over this, and I'm more than happy to answer all of them. First, I'll answer Kathy's question. So, what is considered to be a milestone? So, Kathy, you would take your big goal and you would maybe break it down, how we did the big vision and then we did your 90-day goal. You would then do like your monthly check ins with yourself. So, then you would, let's take my student loan example. So, I have X amount in student loans. I would maybe break it down into some realistic goal. Or whatever goal that I'm setting that I want to pay some amount off by 90 days, then I would just break it down into 3. That's a very tangible example. And it's just basically like a check to make sure that you are reaching your goal and you're still working towards it. I'm recently learning and reading about this phenomenon when you're in the middle So when you're in your middle of your 90 days, it's really easy for our brains to like, oh my God, we're so far away from the end. There's not as much energy and excitement as the beginning. So this milestone is really like, these milestones are really to help you cut down on that midpoint, like exhaustion, stress phase, if you will. So yeah, just take big goal, medium goal, your 90-day goal, and then turn it into like progress checks for you. Awesome. So when you put in your important dates, that should be pretty easy. When you put in time blocks for you to work on your key actions, those like all the things that you brainstormed and put into order before, you're going to want to make time to accomplish those. So I know a lot of people usually turn their brainstorm of actions into smaller goals, which is fine. But you need to make sure that you have time, you have energy, you have effort to accomplish even those mini goals of saving up for a certain amount or accomplishing something or replacing your bad habit with something, meditating, whatever you choose. You will then, like I said, you'll pick specific time blocks that work for you. And the tip that I'll have here is you'll schedule those key action time blocks, preferably during times when your work activity is the lowest. So, obviously, if you're working a 9 to 5 job or whatever you do for work, you're not going to have time or energy to work on your goal if it doesn't revolve around work, right? The goals can be anything from professional to personal to spiritual to mental, like anything, right? So um, you want a clear mind if possible. And the other thing is that you want to have it towards the beginning of the week. So majority of us have more energy in Monday morning, Tuesday morning, not Monday morning, I lie, Monday as like a whole, not so much Monday morning early. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so if you don't get to those, you still have Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whenever you start your week to move it back a little bit towards. So you want to have that contingency plan so you don't then move the whole key action to the next week and then they start building up and then you lose momentum and steam. So that is the reason why you want to schedule those key action time blocks towards the beginning of the week. And so I just want to bring up like an example, right? So if your goal, I'm just going to go with mine. So, saving up for student to pay off our student loan debt. Um, I think it's important to put in my schedule meal planning. I don't want to go out to eat like I did today. I mean, I still go out to eat every once in a while, but meal planning, figuring out that I need to meal plan and have meals in my fridge ready to go so I don't spend money, extra money that I don't need to spend. So that is a really good example of how that big goal and action that I can do to reach that big goal. And then I can put that in my calendar, Sunday mornings, like go to the store and get my food for the week. So that's a really good example. What else? I mean, we're moving right now, right? So selling all of our stuff will give us some extra money in the bank. So making time to have a yard sale, put a yard sale together, like that's a key action that I can schedule into my calendar. So those are two examples. Feel free to ask any questions. I just want to go back to this slide. So know that by putting it in your calendar makes it realer. And I just want to acknowledge that if you have any anxiety or like fear or anything, just notice that it's totally okay. It's welcome. That feeling is okay. And know that you can change this calendar, this event at any time in the future. That is the beauty of having realistic and fun goals that are attached to our vision so we can be flexible and compassionate and actually reach those goals that we're passionate about, we want to actually accomplish. Awesome. So those are the hot tips. And then one more. So if you find a time that works for you, like I said, Monday mornings at like 7 a.m., you might not want to do this most important thing if you are not a morning person. Me, I'm a morning person. So Monday mornings, I'm doing what I need to do to work towards my goals. And I set those up in a reoccurring state. So in your Google Calendar, if you use Google Calendar, this is why I love them. I love using Google Calendar. You can set up the reminder, and then you don't even have to worry about it for the next 12 weeks. Like, you have set that time aside for you to work towards your goals, whether, whatever goal that you're working towards. This is super duper important. It makes it a little bit easier to take action as well. And I'm just going to set a timer for a minute just to be quiet and let y'all add some stuff to your calendar if you want to do that. Alrighty, so that was a minute. I hope that y'all got in maybe your milestones, the important dates, and set up maybe a time block that works for you and your schedule to complete that action, that weekly action, or key actions towards your 90-day goal. And the next step is to celebrate. The only planning that you'll have to do in the next 90 days is to celebrate and see your goals become a reality. Like I talked about before, the fear is going to come up. There's going to be a middle point. There's going to have some resistance, all those things will come up, and you can deal with them. You are amazing. And another thing that I want to add is you don't need to add more to your plate. You already have the mom hat and the 9-to-5 hat or CEO hat or all these things. And the goal that you're working towards is enough. Like, this is part of the work of untangling your worth with your productivity. And I just want to say that when you work on one goal, you're going to get it done before the 90 days. I had one goal the first time I started doing this, like a year ago, and I surpassed it in less than 2 months. And I was like, I don't know what to do with the last month of my life. Like, what do I do? So just know that when you build out that time management muscle, when you spend time intentionally, when you plan your weeks efficiently, and all of those things that I love to talk about, you will see that goal become a reality much sooner than 90 days. And I hope that you do. And when you do, please contact me because I would love to hear it. And the last thing that I'll say is it's really easy for your brain to forget about the hard work that you do. It's really easy to get hard on yourself, feeling unmotivated, unfocused. Like I talked about, that midpoint of the trough of energy before you really reach your goal. Finding time to stay motivated, finding the energy to stay motivated, to gain momentum is really simple. It's not something that needs an extra like step or anything, like you've set up your 90-day plan, you've got it. And I've created a to-do, or it's called a have done list. So it's the opposite of a to-do list. So you write down what you have done. It is brilliant. Like I've been doing these for 2 years, and I've created a PDF that will help you stay on track and feeling momentum, motivated, fulfilled at the end of each day, no matter how close or how far you are to your goal. It's important to feel fulfilled and motivated at the end of each day, especially right now with this COVID, stuff happening in our lives. It's really easy to get down on yourself. So I really hope that you will go and download this quick PDF and keep your momentum and your motivation at an all-time high. You'll reach your goals before 90 days is up, and you're going to contact me when that happens, because I'll be cheering you on. And that is it. Went a little bit to 7:50. I hope I answered some of y'all's good, amazing questions. And I would love to answer as many more as y'all have.
Yes, thank you so much, Becca. You guys were cracking me up in the comments, because as soon as you mentioned meal plan as an action plan, they were like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." So everyone was kind of talking about meal planning and how that's something they need to do. And I just want to dig in. There are a few questions I'm going to ask, but there were a few questions around time blocking. Can you just briefly explain what that would look like on someone's daily or weekly calendar?
Yeah. So something that I've done, as a CEO, like I said, Monday mornings are my jam. I love Monday mornings. So I have an hour and a half set aside every Monday morning to review my last week and do my have done list in terms of like quarter planning or like my 90-day planning. I make sure that I'm hitting those goals, doing those key actions, and celebrating it, like rewarding myself, giving myself a pat on the back. I think that time blocking can bring up fear, like I talked about. And I think that finding time when you are most motivated, energized, productive is really key to finding when that time block works for you. Time management is a learn in progress, like Tamara said in the very beginning of all of this. So really an exercise that I love doing, and I'm sure a lot of you have heard of this already, is tracking your time. So there's lots of cool apps. You can use a piece of paper. You can do an Excel spreadsheet. I even have a freebie on how to track your time. And it's a thing that you use to figure out when you are most energized, and putting the time block in for that time is really important. I hope that I answered that question.
Yes, absolutely. And I'm so glad you mentioned the time blocking. And I think it's important to also kind of just remind you all that it's important to take that time blocking seriously. Take it as if it's you making time to meet with someone important, or an important or a mandatory meeting that you had to go to. I think sometimes we put ourselves as like a second priority. So because we have that time blocking set for ourselves, we go, "Oh, we don't need that," but you do, and you are important. And that's something that I've kind of done for myself. And you talk about time blocking all the time, and it is a helpful tool. So I hope you guys use that when you're planning out your calendar.
Yeah, just
I'm going to go ahead and
one thing that I want to add to that, like time management, honoring those time blocks that you create for yourself is the ultimate self-love, right? Like using your time the way that you want to use your time is so beautiful, and it's a very beautiful way of expressing that self-love for yourself. So honoring that boundary, like Tamara said, is so important.
absolutely. I have two questions I'm going to ask. One was, how do we focus when there is so much going on at the same time? She has a newborn, job search, finishing things in the house, plus goals. So how do you get to that focus?
Yeah, so that's why I say choose one goal over your 90 days to help cut out some of that noise. Some of the other things, I'm not a mother, so just speaking, from my own experience, what I've had to do, I've still struggled with focus and finding time for me as well in the past. I would say, it's a learning journey, And our brains like rewards. We have an inner child. We want to be rewarded. We want to be given a pat on the back and said a good job. So every time that you take time for you and work towards your goals, when you give yourself a reward and cheer yourself on, you're more likely to do it again instead of beating yourself up against that. So yeah, that's what I would say. Like, keep rewarding yourself, celebrating all of the work that you do. And that's why the have done lists are amazing.
Yes, I mean, I hope you guys download the have done list because it's nice to kind of write down you look at your list, you're like, whoa, I killed it this week. You know, you got to have that moment to recognize yourself and to pat yourself on the back, like Becca said. Question, what is a healthy celebration of your goal without regressing?
Yeah. So like rewarding yourself, like what kind of like celebrating yourself or yeah.
I think in general, so sometimes people, when they hear reward or celebration, they think they have to spend, but sometimes it don't have to be anything that involves spending money. So what are
Yeah.
some free ways to celebrate yourself?
Oh my God, I love this question. Write on a piece of paper, I love you. Thank you. You're doing an amazing job. Like, I have a post-it note on my mirror that says, you're worth it. You're amazing. Like, just simple things like that is a reward, a celebration. Watching Netflix guilt-free. That's something I'm huge with. Playing, right now I'm playing Diner Dash. I don't know why. So like giving yourself the guilt-free time to just like relax, that's a really beautiful way of rewarding yourself. And when you set that time block to relax, then you're not thinking about all the other things that you need to be doing because you've already done it or you know when you're going to do it.
Absolutely. So this was amazing. We've been trying different setups for our Ask the Expert sessions recently, and this is probably the second or third kind of interactive workshop session that we've had, and just a lot of positive reviews here, Becca. They're so thankful for this time and the presentation and the moment to pause and actually work through the assignments. And I just want to I want to recognize all of you for just jumping in and doing the work. Like I said, there was about 300 people kind of logged on before we even got started. So you guys were ready. And these practices and tips that she shared today, these are tips and habits you can use daily. We do have the presentation slides available to you. They will be inside of Literature Academy and also in the Facebook group. And you will also have the Google Doc as well. And that you can print out. You can use it as a guide. You can use it while it's pulled up on the screen, whatever you prefer. I did have one question. I just lost it that I wanted to ask. Oh no, you guys are there. There's just so many compliments coming through. I'm trying to see if I can find it really quick.
While you're looking for it, I'll just say I'm really grateful to be here right now and spend this hour with you all. And I'm really like mirroring Tamara, like showing up to do the work is the first step. It's the best step. And yeah, y'all are going to crush the next 90 days. I have no doubt.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think we're going to end here. As I stated, everything that she shared today is inside the Literature Academy, so don't feel like you're missing out on anything. And for those of you who are new to Literature Academy, yes, you will have access to the replay. Actually, the link that you received in your email or through text messaging, you can click on it immediately after this session is over to watch the replay. It will be available to you. So just want to thank you all. We'll also be in the Facebook group. And when I say in the Facebook group, I mean just texting inside of a thread. So feel free to go in there and just say how much you enjoyed this presentation or ask any additional questions. Other than that, I hope you all take care, be safe. Do you want to do a breathing exercise before we go real quick?
Oh my God, I would love to. Yeah, again, if you're comfortable, feel free to close your eyes or just find somewhere to focus and rest your gaze upon. And tune back into your breath. Feel free to take a few deep breaths, sighing out as you exhale. And just thank yourself for all of the work that you have done to better yourself, to better the world around you. And thank yourself and the universe for all of the inspiration, creativity, energy, and work that will come. Take one more big deep breath in. Thank yourself for all of the amazingness that you are. And let it go. Slowly start to come back to the room. Open your eyes when you're ready. Awesome. Thank you all so much. I really enjoyed this.
Thank you, Becca. Have a good night, guys. And again, all of the links will be inside the Academy. Just refresh your page in about, I would say, 15 minutes, we'll have it up in there. So have a good evening. Be safe.